Pharmacists are wanting pharma jobs now more than ever. With the mass exodus of patient care, pharmacists want to do something different while maintaining their clinical knowledge and expertise, and they see pharma now as the opportunity to make it happen. But some wonder, hey, what's on the other side of that scary door? What is actually going on there? The pharmaceutical industry offers a wide variety of different careers that any pharmacist could be doing. If you want to learn more about this, I'll put a link to a class that I taught about 8 different sectors in pharma and roles that pharmacists can be doing. With this wide variety of things, you can get into a full-time work, part-time work, or even a side hustle in pharma. But with today's market, I think it's good to be looking at things like demand, supply, stats, growth potential, and some salary statistics. But with today's market, I think it's best to look at the pharma market with a critical eye and really ask the question, what is the demand like? What is supply like? What salary and growth potential? So let's break these down and answer the question, is pharma worth it for pharmacists? Now, the pharmaceutical industry is huge, and thus salaries are going to range. On the low end, starting off could be anywhere as low as $50,000 or even $60,000. These could be starting level positions, even internships, frankly, within different science departments. But usually people, when thinking that low, they start off in maybe sales positions, sales associate positions. But they can be as high as starting off at the $200,000 range. These are positions that demand a lot of expertise and practice and could be something like an MSL or a medical science liaison role, a director role within pharma, or even a sales position. One of my pharma colleagues, Richard Williams, is a veteran of the pharma industry, got into sales as a pharmacist and worked his way up the ladder and rose and rose and rose. This trajectory means that over your lifetime, you could be making significantly more in pharma than compared to normal clinical practice. Although this isn't always the case for every sector. Places like medical affairs, regulatory affairs, even medical information, bonuses are possible, but the ceiling for these salaries is typically lower. Often one of the complaints that pharmacists have when transitioning into pharma is seeing that the starting salaries is much lower when compared to something like a retail chain pharmacy job that can be starting off at $140, $150, depending on the area. This price difference makes people hesitate. And truthfully, what I've observed though is that the price can be worth it for people who transition. People don't realize the stress that they're under in high workload situations like in many retail chains. And many are willing to take a $20,000, $30,000, even $40,000 pay cut just to gain back their mental sanity, their well-being, and ultimately their happiness. Now, when you are going to go for a pharma role, you have to be considering what are the starting salaries. And know though that will increase over time with great performance. So for salary, I'm going to say that while this does range a little bit all over the place, and many pharma positions that pharmacists go for is less, I'm going to give this a rating of 7 out of 10. Next up is talking about satisfaction. Now, in my research, even looking into clinical studies online through Google Scholar and a few other places, the idea of workplace satisfaction in pharma is hardly ever researched. If you've ever wanted to go for a PhD, you could probably make buco bucks in starting up this as a research project. But when you look up satisfaction in pharma, you typically find sources referencing compensation satisfaction, which across multiple pharma sectors is very high. But in terms of things like burnout and threat to job security, that has been slowly increasing over time. You're going to see this practically in almost every workplace sector whenever there is a recession or a market downward turn. Everyone is worried about losing their jobs. And pharma is no exception, as we'll be talking about soon about how that's been changing over time in terms of how many jobs that they've been hiring. One survey from pharma manufacturing reported that individuals making over $100,000 a year said that they're very satisfied with their compensation, which makes sense. I mean, it's the dream anyway for most people to even make more than six figures in today's American society. So in general, we have heard from our clients who transition into pharma and they love it. They love what they do, but we are hearing subtle, small hints of regrets. This isn't documented, this is anecdotal, but know that if you make this transition, it's unlikely that you will be interacting with patients. There are advocacy roles, there are some policy roles that you could be taking in pharma, and yes, they may interact with patients, but you're not typically doing any more patient care. For some, that's great. While others actually come to realize that they do enjoy patient care, but that their previous setting wasn't allowing them to really do that thing. What we've often recommended for clients that have this regret is to volunteer. Go to your local state or pharmacy association, or even other medical associations, and volunteer if you want to scratch that itch. If you really want to get in front of patients and help people and see that transformation happen, there's plenty of volunteering opportunities for you to do that. So for satisfaction, I'm going to give a rating of 8 out of 10 for people who enjoy pharma, which is seemingly, from our perspective, quite a few pharmacists. Now, pharma saw a crazy boom during the pandemic. We know who, we don't need to call out names, but we all know how much money they've made from the pandemic. I mean, it's the amount of money is, almost the GDP of some medium-sized countries. It's a whole lot of money, and when companies get flush with cash, they hire to develop even more. But there's also been casualties along the way. According to McKinsey, which is a consulting firm that does analysis for these kinds of things, because of the innovations in AI, they are anticipating that over 90,000 jobs, now that's not actual a job, that means types of jobs, could disappear within the next couple of years, but also a set of 90 to 120,000 kinds of jobs could be created. The industry is in flux is an understatement. AI has created a huge boom and many pharma companies are investing into this space. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Students, if you're thinking about getting into pharma, get some AI experience. Right now, the bar is really low to learn AI and to learn how to adapt it into your career. Go out and do it. But for the year of 2023, there has been a significant decline in number of new jobs. As the most recent report that I have from Global Data Jobs Analytics reports a 26% drop in new jobs. And that's an improvement from Q2 of this year. It doesn't mean that there's not new jobs, but there are significantly less of them. We've seen this across so many industries. Everyone's playing defense right now and not hiring as many new people in order to mitigate the risk of potential even further market downward turn. So while there are fewer newer jobs, there are still new jobs. And in fact, AI is a huge booming field right now that if you have any wherewithal and you're excited about technology and you're excited about the impact that it could make on so many amazing things, it's time to get involved. So for the demand factor, I'm going to rate this a 7 out of 10. And now for the final factor, flexibility. I believe that this is the main reason why so many pharmacists are interested in the pharma career path. Look, I've talked to thousands of pharmacists. Our schedules are insane. To get people to show up consistently to like one thing regularly every week for our company is almost near impossible. And that takes a toll on people's lives. Not having consistent schedules where they can regularly show up to things like soccer practice for their kids, local community meetups, heck, even just hanging out with friends. It makes life hard. But in the world of pharma, very typically, it is Monday through Friday. Yes, there is occasional work on the weekends. Yes, there's work sometimes in the evenings, but in general, it's a Monday through Friday kind of profession. The other aspect that pharma has caught on to is remote roles. Now, we are seeing a pandemic swing in the other direction, where they're saying now that they don't really want to support that many remote roles because companies want everyone to come back in. They still exist and they are very competitive. And why? Because everyone wants remote. Everyone loves the idea of working from home, being able to address family things when they need to be addressed, but being present for work when they need to be. They still exist, but we have been noticing that many of the newer jobs that are being posted online are typically about, hey, you need to be on site. One of the other flexibility factors of pharma is that once you're in typically. If you want to get something else in pharma, you can transition easier than you can when you're outside of it. So as an example, one of our coaching clients went from retail pharmacy to medical information to regulatory affairs, and now is a director of a few different departments. There is so many different things that you can do and quickly when you excel in the pharma space. For these reasons, I'm going to be rating flexibility as a 9 out of 10 for its just awesome work schedule. But there is some points about the fact that remote is getting less and less. So overall, I'm giving all of industry pharma roles for pharmacists a 7.7 out of 10. Yes, it could be higher for you based upon the things that you've been researching or knowing or think, but it's not without its downsides. The truth of the matter is we as pharmacists join this profession because we love helping people. And for many, they see pharma as a way of doing that, but with less patient care. I think something to take note of with pharma is that it's no longer about helping people. It is becoming about helping a company. And take that with a caveat, right? You can get into a pharma company and love what you do and love the people that you work with, and it can feel like you are helping others. But we can't deny who we are as a professional identity as pharmacists. We were trained to help people with their health care. Some people transition to pharma, and that is not a problem at all. They love it. They love the fact that they're not handling patient care anymore. They love handling the creative problems that they need to be solving. And that's great. And pharma has so many potential opportunities for you to get into. It's so innovative and creative, very opposite to the way pharmacy practice is right now. But in the future, know that things are going to be changing. The healthcare system is poised for a revolution. Who knows what the future will bring? But pharma could be a great next step for you in your career. If you would like to learn more about the benefits of pharma, about why people are getting into it, a little bit of knowledge about how to stand out in the marketplace from other pharmacists, as well as the 8 sectors that we've defined that you as a pharmacist have the adequate experience to get into, click the link. We'll put it somewhere around here, and you can check out our class about what you can do to make that first step. Think of it like a little bit of primer in your career engine. Thanks for watching this video. Until we see you in the next one, take care.